Thank you everyone for joining me this afternoon. Before I get into the numbers, I'm happy to point out that I feel like we've reached the point where we're having more successes and fewer challenges. Our top priority continues to be getting benefits to as many people as we can, as quickly as we can, through our regular unemployment programs or one of the brand new programs that was built just a few months ago. Early in the pandemic, we were inundated with people filing claims, and we faced a double challenge of processing and paying claims while also building new and accessible programs. While there are still challenges before us and we remain dedicated to addressing them, the main challenges that we face include helping people in adjudication and paying people for the waiting week. And I want to talk first about adjudication. We're committed to continuing to work quickly and accurately to process people's claims who require adjudication and to get them all the benefits they're eligible for as quickly as possible. To that end, we've launched Focus Adjudication. Like we did with Project Focus 100 and Focus PUA, we're marking our progress against a goalpost and we'll be reporting out on this on a regular basis. We're using the number of people who at the very end of September had claims that needed adjudication as our goalpost for Focus Adjudication. That was 52,000 people. Last week, that number had reduced to 45,250, and as of yesterday, of that 52,000, there's about 41,700 in adjudication. Although we're urgently focused on getting each and every one of those people's claims fully resolved as quickly as possible, it's worth noting that tens of thousands of those people have already received benefits. Almost a third of those whose claims are in adjudication have been paid under benefits while you wait, and many others have received some benefits, and it's only 1 or a few weeks that are the subject of the adjudication work that we have to do. We want everyone to know that we're doing everything we can to speed up the adjudication process and to resolve these claims as quickly as possible. As with the prior goals that we've set, we anticipate getting through the claims more quickly each week with increasing progress and an increasing pace of progress. Our 300 adjudicators understand the vital role that they play in helping Oregonians get benefits so they can pay their mortgage or rent and put food on the table. Many of our adjudicators and other employees are working overtime every week because they're so committed to working all the way through this backlog as quickly as possible. We'll continue our focused work and look forward to providing updates on our progress as we move forward. Last week, I talked about the Disaster Unemployment Assistance, or DUA, program, and that the deadline to file a claim under that program was last Friday. Since then, Oregon has requested and received an extension, so that deadline to file for DUA is now Friday, November 27th. As a reminder, this program provides a safety net for people whose employment was directly impacted by the September wildfires and who are not already eligible for benefits under another unemployment program. So far, we've paid just over 130,000 to 109 Oregonians through the safety net program. There's an even larger number of people who were impacted by the fires that we've helped through some of the many other benefit programs that we're providing right now. Anyone whose employment was impacted by the recent wildfires and who hasn't yet applied for DUA should submit their application as soon as possible. And again, to be eligible for DUA, you can't be eligible for any other unemployment program, and you must be in Clackamas, Douglas, Jackson, Klamath, Lane, Lincoln, Lynn, or Marion counties. There's more information at oregon.gov/employ/disaster, including the application, instructions, frequently asked questions, and more. We know that the unemployment insurance payroll tax rates are coming to the top of mind for many Oregon businesses right now. We want to provide as much information as we can to help employers prepare for the coming year. Each employer will receive their individual unemployment insurance tax rate around mid-November, but we'd like to share our preliminary estimate for the anticipated tax schedule for calendar year 2021. Despite facing the highest unemployment rate in Oregon's history, we anticipate that Oregon will only move to the middle UI tax schedule, Schedule 4. This is thanks to the statutory formula used to sustain the Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund. That formula has kept Oregon solvent through the Great Recession and is on track to keep us solvent during this current recession as well. This contrasts with many other states. 21 other states have already borrowed tens of billions of dollars just to pay regular unemployment benefits, and that number is expected to grow as the economic pressures of the pandemic continue. There are two big reasons why we anticipate only a modest increase in employment taxes right now. The first is that the recession, although it's been very severe, only accounts for 8% of the time frame that is used to determine 2021 unemployment tax rates. The other is that most of the benefits that we've been paying out during this recession are federally funded and are not charged to employer accounts, so don't impact employers' unemployment insurance tax rates. In mid-November, we'll notify employers of their individual tax rate, and there's also information included about how they can challenge that determination in the rate if they believe that it was improperly computed. Until then, we do ask employers not to contact us about their individual rates, as we're still finalizing all of that work needed to provide the individual rates to people. You can get additional information about the Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund and payroll taxes on our website at unemployment.oregon.gov, and checking the employer quick links, there's a section for unemployment insurance, trust fund, and payroll taxes. I've also shared updates previously about the Lost Wages Assistance Program, the FEMA additional benefit that provides $300 per week for some weeks of benefits. We have two primary goals as we work through that program. The first is we're working to get payments out to the small number of people who have certified that they're eligible, but are still waiting for one or more weeks of benefits. If somebody already certified that they're eligible for lost wages assistance, they do not need to take any additional action to get their payments. They will not need to make additional contact with us. We already have their information and are working on processing their payments as quickly as we can. The second primary goal that we have is that we're reminding people who did not certify for lost wages assistance, but inadvertently received those benefits, to certify as quickly as possible. To be eligible for lost wages assistance is a much easier standard than many people assume, easier than meeting the standard for pandemic unemployment assistance in many cases. So we encourage anyone who hasn't yet self-certified to do so as soon as they can, and you can do that using our online claim system. If somebody received lost wages assistance benefits and is found to not be eligible, federal law does consider those to be overpayments and requires us to collect those amounts. We'll work with people to do that in the best way possible. Anybody with language access needs can contact us by email at oed_languageaccess@oregon.gov, or by calling our language hotline 503-606-6969, and they can do that to certify their eligibility for lost wages assistance. I'd also like to remind Oregonians about some of the changes that we're seeing as we're nearing the end of the year. People who are receiving regular unemployment insurance benefits may be able to get pandemic emergency unemployment compensation, or PEUC benefit extensions, benefits after they run out of regular benefits. If they exhaust all of their PEUC benefits, they may be able to receive additional benefits through the Extended Benefits Program or through Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, PUA. If someone qualifies for extended benefits, they should keep filing for benefits each week and should be automatically signed up for this benefit extension programs. Qualifying claimants should keep filing for benefits each week in order to be automatically enrolled in extended benefits and to continue receiving those benefits each week that they're eligible. For more information, people can visit our website and type extended benefits in the search bar, or watch the recent webinar that we put on about PEUC and extended benefits by searching our YouTube channel. Both the PUA and the PEUC benefit program are scheduled to end on December 26th under the federal laws, and no new programs or benefits have yet been funded by Congress. If you're getting PUA or PEUC benefits, we urge you to prepare for these funds to end on December 26th, and encourage people to reach out to 211.org for additional assistance. At the start of the briefing, I mentioned that one of our big challenges is paying people for the waiting week. And I've previously shared that we anticipate starting to pay people for the waiting week by the end of November. We are currently still on track to meet that goal. And in the coming weeks, I hope to share additional information on what people can expect as we start to get ready to make those payments. Next week, we'll be having a webinar that will focus on the PUA program, and that webinar will be held in Vietnamese. You can find registration information, including a link to watch last week's webinar on adjudication or other prior webinars, by visiting our social media pages. We're also continuing to do outreach for our paid family and medical leave insurance program. The next town hall is tomorrow from 2 to 3 p.m. These virtual town halls are listening sessions where we're inviting people to give input to help guide us in the development of the program and the administrative rules for that program. The topic for tomorrow's town hall is equivalent plans. We already have about 400 people that have RSVP'd to participate, and we're very excited about the interest and the input that we're getting in these. To register for this town hall or for any other one, or to watch a recording of the prior town halls, you can go to the Paid Family and Medical Leave Insurance website, which is oregon.gov/employee/PFMLI. And to provide an update on the numbers, since March 15th, running through October 24th, we've paid out $5.4 billion in benefits. So in the past 7 months, that's more than we paid out in the prior 9 years. While the incoming work has slowed, it continues to still be busy. During that same time period, we've received about 593,000 claims for regular unemployment insurance benefits. Again, some people are filing multiple claims, but each of those 593,000 claims is one that we need to process. During the prior year, we had about 85,800 during the same time period. We are processing these claims very quickly. We continue to get the vast majority of them processed within just the first few business days, and even the most complex ones are being handled within a couple of weeks. For the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, we've now paid out about $286 million to almost 70,000 people in Oregon. We continue to be caught up on the WorkShare program, processing new plan applications, new initial claims, and weekly certifications for benefits very promptly. There's currently over 1,600 businesses and over 66,000 workers that are participating in the WorkShare program. In closing, I want to thank you again for joining us today. I know that we still have challenges before us, and we are focused intently on addressing each of those as quickly as we can. But I do believe that we've turned a corner at the Employment Department, and we're making good progress. I eagerly look forward to the day that we can say the backlogs are gone, and we're timely processing all claims and paying benefits out quickly for each and every claim that is filed. Our employees have done an amazing job, and I want to thank them for their long hours and dedication that they continue to work, and the compassionate customer service they're providing to Oregonians in their time of desperate need. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, David. In one moment, I'm going to unmute the lines, and I will call on reporters in the order that they RSVP'd. And a reminder, one question and one follow-up question. And if you're joining us by phone, make sure to hit *6 to unmute yourself. And first up, we have Lindsay Nadrich with COIN.
Hi, David. I spoke to a gentleman today who was waiting weeks and weeks for his claim to be adjudicated. He said he missed a call from an 800 number, didn't pick it up because he thought it was a robocall and missed the voicemail. And since he didn't get that phone call, he says his claim has been denied and he has yet to get a hold of anybody. And he says he needs a letter with a number to be able to file an appeal, and he hasn't received that yet. What would you say to somebody in that situation who missed the call, their claim was denied, and now they don't really know what to do?
So a couple of things. One, we have been encouraging people to answer their calls. We've been working as hard as we can to have our phone show that it's us. And we've done everything that we can on our end to do that. Especially with cell phones, it's the individual cell providers that some of them, it still doesn't show it as the Employment Department calling. So we're encouraging everyone to answer the phone when they know that we're working on their claims. If they've missed it, when the adjudicator is calling who's worked on their claim, they are leaving their direct phone number for people to call them back at, because at that point their claim has been assigned to an individual. If they miss that, they're not able to get through, they will receive the formal written decision that explains whether they're denied benefits or not, and has information about how to appeal the decision. People can appeal that decision by sending an email, or they can do that using the Contact Us form. So if they know the date that they were denied benefits and can give us enough information to know what decision they're denying, they can request that through the Contact Us form, and we'll go ahead and process that. The other point that I'll add is if there was information that we didn't have that is related to the adjudication issue we were having to look at, they can provide that to us. If it's a document, they can attach that to their Contact Us form. And we do review the hearing requests so that sometimes we're able to resolve the issue before a hearing, especially if it's because they didn't have a chance to give us the information, or we tried to get it and we couldn't reach them, but they can now give us some missing information that we need.
Do you guys call more than once? Because he just says he's tried to call back and can't get through.
Right, we do typically try to call people multiple times. We also have, I've mentioned that we're contracting with a vendor that's helping us reach out to people. They're also calling multiple times and leaving messages each time.
And then lastly, real quick, if I could ask, someone else wanted to know, they still haven't received their lost wages assessment payment. The employment department Facebook page said it was a result of a glitch in the system. He says he's been contacted twice after using the contact form, saying they entered my information, it was taken care of, and my payments would be there by next week. Both weeks came and went with no payments.
Sure, so I mentioned that that is one of the two things that we're really focused on with the lost wages assistance. It's a small number of people. Comparatively, we've paid out the lost wages assistance to hundreds of thousands of people. It has become complicated with all the layers of programs that are in place and with people shifting from one program to another. So the coding to get those payments released has been very complicated. There are a small number of people, if they've already certified, and it sounds like that person has, and they've already been in touch with us, so we know that they're waiting for that payment. We are working on it daily, seeing what we can do to get those payments out as soon as possible. And we recently sent some communication out to each of those people, just giving them that update that we're sorry we haven't been able to pay it yet. We are working on it and anticipate being able to release those payments in the near future.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Next, we have Peter Wong with Pamplin Media.
Hi. You've had a couple of focus on various things that you've set deadlines and actually met them or beat them in one case, if I recall. Do you have a target for the latest focus on PUA adjudication?
Sure, we do, and we'll be releasing the information about when we anticipate getting it done. And when we're choosing these targets, we're really, we're doing everything we can to get through the work as quickly as possible. The targets that we're putting out there are very aggressive, and it relies on us continuing not just to do work at the same pace, but to keep speeding up significantly. With that, we know that there's a lot of people waiting, and I believe that the anticipated target would be to get through the 41,700 remaining adjudication claims as of September 30th, that would be done. It would be pretty close to the end of the year. We're focused on speeding that up absolutely as much as possible. But again, we don't want to give kind of a false expectation. So we've put out the most aggressive target that we believe we can meet, and we're doing everything that we can to get it done even sooner.
On adjudication itself, I know you've probably spoken to this before, but could you explain once again why this is required, and especially in the case of PUA versus regular benefits eligibility? Understand the provision in the CARES Act that requires the federal government basically requires the states to certify that people who get PUA are not eligible for regular benefits. Go ahead.
Sure, and you're exactly right. There's kind of two main pieces. One is before we're allowed to pay anyone benefits, federal law requires that we determine that they meet the eligibility requirements. So there's any number of things that can come up that we have to do adjudication on so that we can meet that federal standard of showing that people are eligible. So for instance, if somebody is discharged from their job, if they're fired, or if they quit, or if they leave the state for a period of time, anything that could impact their eligibility to get benefits in a week, that's something that we have to adjudicate. And for PUA, you're exactly right. The CARES Act and repeated federal guidance very specifically says that we first have to determine whether someone is eligible for regular benefits before we're able to give them PUA benefits. That is something that we were using the benefits while you wait approach to try to help people, especially those people who we knew would end up with either regular unemployment or PUA. Unfortunately, we've had to scale that back because of the federal regulations, and they've said that we can't use that as broadly. So we're really doing everything we can to minimize the adjudication and to streamline the process as much as federal requirements permit.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Peter. Next, we have Kate Davidson with OPB.
Hi. Can
Hello.
you hear me? Hi. So you mentioned that almost 42,000 people still have claims in adjudication from the September sort of benchmark. And you've also said in the past that some people with issues might not require a full-blown adjudication. Does that 42,000 number, is that the full universe of people who have issues that need to be resolved with their claims?
Those are the ones that look like they likely need adjudication. So some of those we still will be able to resolve a little bit more quickly, but those are the more complex ones. That is the vast majority of people who still have issues that have to be addressed for their claims. There are other issues that come up periodically. Most of those tend to get resolved much more quickly, or we're able to quickly determine that it is something that will need the full adjudication. And it then kind of joins that group of claims to be adjudicated.
What week of claims is the department currently adjudicating? I know that you're trying to sort of go chronologically. Where are you in the timeline?
So I can't give a simple answer for that. And part of that is because of a number of the strategies that we're using to get through the work as quickly as possible. We are trying to go through the people that have been waiting the longest. That continues to be our priority. But I've mentioned that we hired several hundred new adjudicators, and that we've really shifted our training approach in order to get them able to help get through that work much more quickly than the usual multiple months of training, and then pretty gradual introduction to additional issues and gaining experience would let us do. So we've done some very targeted training where a number of people are trained just on some issues. So for instance, if we have people that are trained just on handling situations where there's an issue about whether someone was incarcerated and whether they're eligible for work, or whether they were self-employed and whether that impacts their eligibility, we're training them on those issues, and they're working generally chronologically through those, but they may be working on claims on issues that are much more recent than some of the other issues where we have fewer staff. And we're taking the same general approach we had before of trying to let our most experienced staff spend their time on those most complex cases so that they can get those moving. But because we kind of have those multiple streams based on who's been trained on what types of issues, there's not one date that I can give for here's the date of the claims that we're adjudicating.
Is there a general ballpark though? I mean, if you take out the sort of targeted things that may span more recently, as you're working through, like where's the line between claims before this date have been adjudicated and claims after this date haven't necessarily been adjudicated?
So I don't have the date in front of me, and it really isn't just pulling out a couple of small categories. We really have trained a number of different groups on different targeted types of issues. So instead of thinking of it as one line, and you're kind of asking, you know, how far back does that line go? we really have a whole bunch of different lines where we're sorting all of the adjudication into the different types of issues. So it is more complicated to give a definite answer, but the more relevant part is I don't have the best estimate that we would have. I don't have in front of me right now.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Kate. Next, we have Mike Rogoway with the Oregonian.
Hey, David. I think I misheard a couple numbers. The number of people waiting for adjudication right now, that's down to 41,700. Is that right?
Correct.
And then what was your target date for getting through that?
It's pretty close to the end of the year, and we'll be releasing something that will be kind of the formal metrics that we're measuring and reporting against. I believe that's going out later today.
Okay. Oh, okay. Good. Good. And then you mentioned some overpayment with the LWA. How many folks are we talking about with that?
So it's hard to have an exact number. There are quite a few people that have received payments that we don't have the certifications for yet. I think the most recent number I saw was it is around the mid 30,000s, between 35 and 40,000. From the outreach that we've done so far and everything that we're seeing, a very large majority of those people do actually meet the eligibility requirements to get those benefits. They just hadn't yet completed the certification. So we're working through having some people focus on contacting them, getting those certifications so that they know that they are eligible for those benefits, they can keep them, or for the relatively small number of people who ultimately aren't eligible, to work through the best way for us to recover those amounts.
Thank you. And just so I'm clear here, that most of those appear to be eligible for it, but didn't actually certify, but they did get paid. So that would be the department, if they don't certify at some point, the department would be obliged to recoup that under federal law. Is that
correct?
Right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Mike, next we have Tom Cusack with Oregon Housing.
Hi. Hi. I have a question about the scheduled tax changes. The current wages subject to tax, I think, is 42,100. Is that going to change? And I never quite figured out how you calculate that change from year to year.
It will change, and I don't have the statutory site or the formula in front of me, but it's one of the many parts of the self-balancing system for the trust fund. So just like our unemployment benefit amounts, the amount of wages that are subject to the payroll tax is also indexed to overall state economic conditions. So for calendar year 2021, what we call the taxable wage base will be $43,800.
Okay, thanks. And a sort of unrelated question. In the last couple of days, I've noticed that several state agencies have posted their budget requests for 21-23, including Department of Human Services, the Housing Department. I was looking on your website and I didn't see a link currently for your budget request. Is there some place we should be looking for that?
We haven't posted that yet. We're still working with the Department of Administrative Services and the Governor's Office on making sure that we have the best budget to seek for next biennium. As you can imagine, with the really volatile economic conditions and that being such a huge driver of the amount of work that we have, it's a bit more challenging than in most years where we have more predictable projections that we can work on. Things are changing pretty rapidly, so we want to make sure we're getting the best target that we can moving into this.
Is if I can just follow up one more question, any kind of ETA as to when that's going to be finalized?
I don't have that ETA at this point.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Tom. Next, we have Dick Hughes with the Hughesisms.
Thank you. Maybe I missed something, but on the LWA, the lost wage assistance, how is it that people got paid without being eligible?
Well, and I will clarify, most of the people that got paid that haven't certified yet are eligible. And the issue was, as we rolled that program out, if I go back in time to when we rolled out the first new program, the pandemic unemployment compensation, the extra $600, we were layering that new program on top of regular unemployment insurance. Since then, we've had to roll out other multiple new programs, so PEUC, EB, the change to EB to make it high extended benefits. Each time that we add another layer on, it's more and more complicated when we make changes or roll out the next layer to make sure that it interacts with all of those programs and all of the different ways people have moved from one claim to another, from one program to another. And there was some inadvertent issues, kind of unintended consequences. And these are some of the things that I believe I've talked about in the past. Whenever we're making these changes in the mainframe system, we're really concerned about what those unintended consequences are as things get so complex. And this is an example of one of those, and why things that seem like they could be simple really take a lot of time so that we can test and minimize the types of issues that do come up.
Thank you, and thank you for correcting me. What I meant was that these people were getting benefits without being certified, not being eligible. So to understand, so this was a technical glitch in the programming.
Essentially, yeah, it was an unintended consequence of rolling this layer, this new program out and interacting with all of the others. And we have added, we already quickly kind of incorporated the learnings of what those unintended consequences were and what led to them into all of the testing that we're doing as we work on the waiting week and any other changes that we need to make to the other benefit programs.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Dick. And last, we have Bill Poehler with the Statesman Journal.
Yeah, hey, David. So I have a question about the claims progress on the website, on the Oregon Employment Department's website. It seems like a fairly large discrepancy of the total number of claims received and the total number of people paid between regular unemployment and pandemic unemployment. Is part of that because people might have applied on both, or is that the numbers there, or maybe part of it maybe the people who are still in adjudication?
There's several factors. One is that most of the numbers that are on there are talking about the number of claims that are filed. And I mentioned that sometimes one person can have multiple claims even in the same program. And you're exactly right. We do have a significant number of people that ended up filing for both programs because either, for instance, they were seeking PUA, but they filed before that program was stood up. So they filed a regular unemployment application. And later then, when that new program was available, filed a PUA application as well. We also, especially in the PUA program, we did receive a very large number of duplicate applications from people where, frankly, I think during the early stages when we were still getting a little more used to running the program and smoothing out how that worked, people were anxious to get their benefits, very understandably, and didn't know if maybe their application hadn't been received, so they would submit multiple types of applications. We also, so that accounts for quite a large amount of those apparent discrepancies. We also have a large number of people who just aren't eligible for the program that they applied for. And certainly, even though we have a number of benefit programs, we are seeing people that aren't eligible for any benefits at all. So those may be people who aren't waiting, they applied, but unfortunately, they don't meet the requirements to get benefits. And then some of those are certainly the people who are in adjudication who haven't yet received benefits. They would be reflected in those numbers also. I guess one other significant category that I've talked about before on the regular unemployment are people who filed, who may actually have a valid claim, but they only claimed 1 week of benefits, and that would be the waiting week. So when we pay the waiting week, there will be a fair number of people that end up getting paid for that 1 week that they claimed.
Oh, that makes a lot. That's interesting though. With the waiting week, do we have any idea how many people filed for just the waiting week?
We do. I don't have that figure in front of me. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just don't have that handy right now.
Okay, that's fine. It's one of those that'd be interesting to see how many people, because you are going to be Oregon, from what I saw, is going to be one of the last states to pay out the waiting week. So it'd be interesting to see how many people are actually, more people or would actually get something like that. So that's interesting. Thanks for taking the time, David.
Thank you.